did Arsenal players over celebrate after that win against Real Madrid? Because it is true they won against Real Madrid, they schooled Real Madrid at the Bernabeu and at the Emirates, but let's be real, man, that is not the best Real Madrid side in the years, man. That is arguably one of the worst Real Madrid side in the past few years. And we saw that at the Emirates yesterday when they were playing against PSG. They beat Real Madrid not because Arsenal were a brilliant team. Of course, they were a brilliant team. I cannot take that away from them. But at some point, you have to say the truth that Real Madrid was not the best team. Let's just leave that game and focus on Arsenal against PSG at the Emirates Stadium, man. That game was it was not that entertaining game, that classic semi-final game, but at least there was some entertainment. At least there was a goal, there were some brilliant saves, there were some VAR controversies, there were penalty controversies. Some teams say they should be awarded this, another team saying they should be awarded this. And in terms of tactics, PSG plays as PSG. We know the way PSG play, making good passes, good on transition. For Arsenal, their game was a little bit different compared to the way they played against Real Madrid. I saw yesterday, especially because they conceded an early goal in the 4th minute, Ousmane Dembélé had already punished Arsenal. So after that goal, I even saw when Saliba had the ball, Raya had the ball, and the Arsenal defenders had the ball. It was like they were tensing when they had the ball. But for PSG, they were really calm from the 1st minute to the 95th minute of the game. We saw PSG players really calm, enjoying their game, not shifting their game plan, just playing as per the instructions of Luis Enrique. But for Arsenal, at some point, we saw they were trying long balls from David Raya, and they were getting no one at the far end of the pitch. We saw they tried to use the fullbacks, they tried to use the wing, they tried to use the midfield, which it was not working, because as we all know, the PSG midfield yesterday, it was demos in that midfield, man. PSG arguably has one of the best midfield in the world, and according to me, the only place that Arsenal overpowered, and it was the crucial place of the game, it was the midfield. That midfield of João Neves, Vitinha, and Fabian Ruiz, and even at some point Ousmane Dembélé was dropping back into that midfield, trying to help that PSG team in transitions. That is where Arsenal were killed, man. Arsenal, that PSG midfield yesterday killed Arsenal midfield. I said that at the Bernabeu and at the Emirates Stadium. At the Emirates Stadium, if it was not for the 2 free kicks, Declan Rice could have not won man of the match. And who could have won it? Thomas Partey. And Arsenal fans yesterday, you saw how good and how important Thomas Partey is in that team. Because that midfield of Odegaard, Mikel Merino, and Declan Rice, there's no balance. They don't have that player who can bring balance into that team. There's no that player who can control the tempo of the game. We know Declan Rice plays good when he's in the far end of the pitch. We know the likes of Mikel Merino recently has been playing as a number 9. We know Martin Odegaard has a habit of ghosting big games, especially yesterday in the Champions League semi-finals. Martin Odegaard was nowhere to be seen, man. But let's get straight to it. Let's rate these players. Let's look at the game plans. Look at where the Arsenal manager got it wrong. Let's look at where the PSG manager got it right. And I will start by giving credit to these PSG players, man. The first player I'm giving credit, Gigi Donnarumma. Gianluigi Donnarumma is reminding me of Gianluigi Buffon. Very brilliant goalkeeper, especially in big moments. Those big moments at the Emirates, he kept PSG in the game. There's that Leandro Trossard moment. There's that 1v1 against Gabriel Martinelli. There are those headers. We know Arsenal have been very brilliant in set pieces. For the past 2 seasons, I tell you, Arsenal is the team which has scored more set pieces in Europe. And Gigi Donnarumma was there to stop that, man. His reaction, his saves, his passes, his everything. It was just brilliant, man. I know man of the match was given to Vitinha. They was bossing that midfield at the Emirates. But if it was not for Vitinha, if Vitinha was not playing today, Gigi Donnarumma could have easily won that man of the match award, man. A brilliant goalkeeper. Shout out and salute to Gigi Donnarumma. One of the most brilliant performances, man. And if PSG were to make it to the Champions League final this season, if they win their game at the Parc des Princes next week against Arsenal in the second leg, there are some moments they will look back into this semi-final game, and some of those moments will be some of those saves that Gigi Donnarumma was making against Arsenal, man. Like that Gabriel Martinelli one-on-one save after a very brilliant pass from, I think it was Declan Rice, is there 1v1 against Gigi Donnarumma. Gigi Donnarumma just reads his body language and knows that Gabriel Martinelli is Gabriel Martinelli and will go for the purpose. He just stretches his arm and boom, he makes a really brilliant save, man. It was in that moment that I realized that Arsenal might not score in this game, man, because the way Donnarumma, after making that save, I knew it was over. Making brilliant save, very confident, and in terms of passes, his long range passes, his short range passes, all of those were very good and very brilliant. So PSG have a very good goalkeeper in their hand. And at some point, Manchester United were linked to Gigi Donnarumma. I don't know what happened. They got Andre Onana. But this is not about my team, Manchester United. So let's get to the other player who I think was very good today. The PSG fullbacks, Hakimi and Nuno Mendes. I think in every video we say they're very brilliant, they're very brilliant, they're very brilliant. We repeat that every week. Some may say that we are gaslighting them, but these PSG fullbacks, Nuno Mendes and Achraf Hakimi, they are very good, man. That is the thing that I can say. They are phenomenal, they are brilliant, they are very good, they are world class. I think at the moment Nuno Mendes has to be one of the best fullbacks in the world, man. Has to be there as one of the best fullbacks in the world. If not the best fullbacks in the world, one of the best. And I think Nuno Mendes has to be in my top 3 or top 2. And I think, let me just say straight, it is my opinion. It may sound controversial to other people, but Nuno Mendes, the way I've watched him pocketing Mohamed Salah, the way I watched him pocketing those Aston Villa wingers, the way I watched him today, the way he was dealing with Bukayo Saka, Nuno Mendes is the best fullback in the world. Nuno Mendes for me is the best left fullback in the world, and you cannot convince me otherwise. Unless another youngster comes or anybody else comes and provides good performances and exceeds Nuno Mendes this season, of which I don't think it will happen because we are almost at the end of the season. If it's the Champions League in the semi-final, it means that the season is almost over. And for the right back, Achraf Hakimi is also one of the brilliant right backs in the world. He's not the best right back in the world, arguably that you can have another best right backs in the world. We have the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold, but in terms of the way he has been carrying PSG this season, the way he's handling themselves as a leader, as a player, as a guy who has been that PSG teams for years now, a guy who knows that PSG really need the Champions League this season because of the money they've spent, because of the talent they've invested. At some point they had Kylian Mbappe, Messi, Neymar, all that for what? Winning the Champions League, and they did not manage to win it. So the fact that he's there as a leader, as a player, as a guy who has been there for a couple of years, he knows what it means for Nasser El-Khafi, he knows what it means for the PSG fans, he knows what it will mean for the PSG players if he wins the Champions League with the PSG this season, or release that team to a Champions League trophy, because they've already won that league, the League One league. PSG are already the winners. They've been crowned champions, I think 2 weeks ago. Now what is remaining, their main focus, the main business, though they have another final in France, a cup in France, but I think the one trophy, the one prestigious trophy that Achraf Hakimi has his eyes on, that PSG team has his eyes on, that Luis Enrique has his eyes on, that also the fans have their eyes on, Nasser El-Khafi has his eyes on, it is the Champions League. And also you have their centre backs, Pacho and Marquinhos. Look, Pacho is brilliant, man. Pacho is brilliant. In that national team, Pacho should be starting ahead, I think, of William Saliba or all those centre backs that are there. Pacho is very brilliant. Marquinhos has been accused of being sloppy and all that the past couple of seasons, like Gigi Donnarumma, the way I was saying in the start of the video. They have been accused of single-handedly, Marquinhos and Donnarumma, eliminating PSG out of the Champions League. Marquinhos is almost the same case as Achraf Hakimi. You have been in the club long enough, you know what the fans want, you know what Nasser El-Khafi wants, you know what your fellow players want, you know what you as an individual want. Obviously the objective, it is to win the Champions League. And then we move to the most crucial part of the game, the most important part, which PSG overplayed Arsenal, outclassed Arsenal, and did everything better compared to Arsenal, and it was the midfield, man. And from today onwards, I'm viewing João Neves as one of the most critical, the most gifted players, the most technical players, the most, I don't know how to put this, but João Neves, he absolutely amazed me, man. He absolutely amazed me, man. There's a moment in the game that Mikel Merino just started to take a shot and he just stole the ball from Mikel Merino. There is also a moment that Bukayo Saka just started to shoot and Joe Neves is there stealing the ball from Bukayo Saka. Not every midfielder can do that in the world, man. Joe Neves has to be one of the most technical, gifted players in the world. And Manchester United almost bringing him to Old Trafford. But do you know what the argument was? Do you know what the argument of the scout was? I saw that on Twitter yesterday and I was laughing, man. They said that Joe Neves was too short for the Premier League. He was not too technical, gifted for the Premier League. How? These are the scouts working for Manchester United. You leave a player, the likes of Joe Neves, a player who is technically gifted like Joe Neves. The reason being what? He's short and he's not technically gifted. What I saw that game against Arsenal at the Emirates, there's no Manchester United midfielders technically gifted like Joe Neves. You can give an argument about Bruno Fernandes. Of course, Bruno Fernandes is way better than Joe Neves. But remember, they're playing two different positions. Joe Neves can play as a number 6 and in that deep role as a number 8. But you know, for Bruno Fernandes, mostly he's play very brilliant when he's given that free role to just roam in the pitch, create chances, making assists. But Joe Neves, you are good, man. Wherever you are gifted and you are a brilliant player. And Portugal are going with these players to the 2026 World Cup. Make sure you get something out of that World Cup, man. Because Joe Neves, like, the way he handles the ball, he's like sleeping in the pitch. But the moment the ball is in his feet, he's another person, he's another player, making very brilliant technical decisions. The passes he's making, the runs he's making, everything that Joe Neves he touches turns into almost a goal, turns to a chance created, chance to an assist or anything like that, man. Joe Neves, you are good. You are good, man. You are good. And then you have Fabian Ruiz, also a very brilliant midfielder for PSG. You have seen what Fabian Ruiz did for Spain in the Euros, and now he's doing that for PSG. So Fabian Ruiz is not new to the game, and we all know he's brilliant. Then another player who was very brilliant. Wow. Vitinha, man of the match. Vitinha, man of the match. Basically what I'm trying to say is the technical ability that this PSG midfield has comparing to the technical ability that Arsenal midfield has, it is very different, man. And we saw in that game that PSG midfield, its ability is very high. You cannot compare to this Arsenal midfield. The Arsenal midfield today was playing, it was not even average. That was very low for an Arsenal midfield, a team that beat Real Madrid a couple of weeks ago. Now you are playing against PSG and you're playing like that. Although PSG have a brilliant midfield, but Arsenal midfield could have done better. Then let's go to our attacks. Vicha Kvaratskhelia against Jurrien Timber. They've been saying that Jurrien Timber is the best, I don't know, 1v1, fullback, 1v1, what, 1v1. But let's be real, man. We gas these players up when they have not met good players. We gas these players saying that they're brilliant, they stopped who. But when they have not actually met brilliant players, because in that Messi era and Cristiano Ronaldo era, for you to be regarded as the best defender in the world at the moment or the best fullback at the moment, if you played against Cristiano Ronaldo and you played against Lionel Messi and you are brilliant in stopping them, boom, you are definitely the best player in the world. And in this era, I think the best players, the best technical wingers we have at the moment, PSG have them. They have Desiree Doué, they have Vicha Kvaratskhelia, and they also have Ousmane Dembélé. Vicha Kvaratskhelia was against Jurrien Timber, and we saw what Jurrien Timber was doing, man. Falling that guy in the first half, he had over 5 falls on Vicha Kvaratskhelia, and I was surprised. That referee is one of the worst referees I've seen in football, man. For referring a Champions League semi-final game, because Jurrien Timber could have easily gotten a yellow card in the first 20 minutes of the game because of the way he was handling Vicha Kvaratskhelia. And his technical ability, Vicha Kvaratskhelia, very brilliant. He's a very brilliant player. A lot of people were questioning his decision, why he was moving from Napoli to PSG. He would have gotten a move to Barcelona, Real Madrid, or any big team in the Premier League. But Vicha Kvaratskhelia decided to trust the process of Luis Enrique and joined PSG. And we can see what he's doing at PSG, man. He was against the so-called the best 1v1 defenders in the world, Jurrien Timber, and Jurrien Timber absolutely got nothing out of that game. Another player is Desire Doué, man. And if there's one player that I really enjoy watching when he's in the pitch, one of them is Lamine Yamal. Then the other one, Desire Doué. I'll be real, man. Desire Doué is one of the best players in the world at the moment. Desire Doué is brilliant. Desire Doué is technically gifted. Desire Doué, the way he's controlling the ball in that Emirates Stadium, full of Arsenal fans booing you for for the moment you touch the ball, and Desire Doué is making those Neymar techniques. Neymar controls Neymar. I think Lamine Yamal is forcing this gimmick that is more of Neymar Jr. and all that. But if there's a player who is technically gifted and naturally gifted and can go on and also has the ability of becoming good as Neymar, not as good as Neymar, but he has those characteristics of Neymar, I think it's Desire Doué. There's no any other player in the world who has those characteristics that Neymar Jr. had than Desire Doué. And then to the man who scored the goal in the 4th minute, Ousmane Dembélé. Ousmane Dembélé at the moment, if I had a vote in the Ballon d'Or, I'm not giving Rafinha, man. I said this in my TikTok video. If I had a vote in the Ballon d'Or, I'm not giving Rafinha. I'm giving it to either Lamine Yamal or Ousmane Dembélé. And Ousmane Dembélé gave me that reason why people should be looking at Ousmane Dembélé as a threat in that Ballon d'Or race, as a threat for those Barcelona players, knowing that Ousmane Dembélé can win the Ballon d'Or anytime ahead of Pedri, ahead of Rafinha, ahead of who is this Lamine Yamal, ahead of those Barcelona players. He can do it because he's very brilliant. He has won the Ligue 1. He is almost, if he wins the Champions League for PSG, what is stopping him for winning the Ballon d'Or? Then you have Arsenal Football Club. Raya made a really brilliant. I can talk about David Raya. David Raya made a really brilliant save. That Desire Doué when he was cutting in. Then that was a very good shot stopped by David Raya. But I want to concentrate on Arsenal's midfield. I said this when Arsenal played against Real Madrid at the Emirates and Declan Rice won man of the match. I said the reason why Declan Rice has won man of the match, in this game, it is not because he's been the best player in that midfield. No, it is because he scored those 2 free kicks, and those 2 free kicks were very essential for Declan Rice. For Arsenal to win the game against Real Madrid. But in terms of a player who was very brilliant in that Arsenal midfield, in that first leg particularly, leave alone the Santiago Bernabeu, Declan Rice played good. But that at the Emirates Stadium, it was Thomas Partey, and we saw the way Arsenal were lacking Thomas Partey today, the way they were struggling, man. In that midfield, they were really struggling. They could not even complete, those like creating chances. There's in some instances in the game against that Real Madrid game, I saw Thomas Partey running away from around 3 Real Madrid midfielders. He ran from Camavinga, Jude Bellingham, and whoever, I think it was Luka Modric. In that same moment, they missed that, because if you do that against your 3 opponents or your opponent midfielders, you have reduced 3 players and you have left them behind. If you have left them behind, that means what? You have a lot of bodies going forward. Declan Rice did that. I think it was in the second half for that chance which I think Martinelli missed, but Thomas Partey is really crucial and really important in this Arsenal team. And Arsenal, man, look for another captain, man. This Martin Odegaard guy is really shit. In these big games, Martin Odegaard, you cannot carry your team. You cannot even make good passes, good runs, good everything. You are shit, and you are getting substituted, man, in the 88th minute, I think. After doing nothing in that game, man, you have to be substituted coming out of that pitch. You are the captain. Your fans are clapping for you. But for Odegaard, in big games, Martin Odegaard goes to ghost mode. In big games, Martin Odegaard decided to ghost the game. In big games, he does that. He's been doing that against Manchester United. Manchester United fans, we said never compare him to Bruno Fernandes. And we saw today in a big Champions League night at the Emirates, you are ghosting. So, Arsenal, go back to your training this week, do your studies, do what you'll have to do. Next week at the Parc des Princes against PSG in their home ground. We saw the way those away PSG fans were allowed at the Emirates. Now imagine that we'll have to face those fans at the Parc des Princes Stadium in France while they are 1-0 up. So all the best Arsenal, may the best team win next week, of which, but I really hope as a United fan, the best team to win. But Arsenal, you have to do better than what you are doing. Of course, next week their guy Thomas Partey will be back, so I hope they'll do brilliant. They'll do brilliant at the Parc des Princes. They will approach the game the way they approached that Real Madrid second leg game at the Santiago Bernabeu. Today, Inter Milan against Barcelona, another Champions League semi-final. I'll not make my prediction because I'm pretty bad at that, but I hope we have a brilliant and entertaining game the way that Arsenal and PSG game was. Peace out, and don't forget to leave a subscription. Bye.